Might be a little bit late, so we'll just let him hop on when he's available. Um, do we need to review Zoom procedures, Mike?
We know everybody, so I've turned you're allowed to unmute yourself on, so you guys are able to introduce yourselves.
Okay, great. Um, okay, does anyone want to move approval of the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Second. Okay, all those in favor?
I
Great. Okay, comments from the chair. So I think the purpose of this meeting tonight is just to get some updates from Mike on where we are with the city plan. Thanks for all your work, and Tim for attending the meeting. It sounds like you came and they approved the plan, so that's great. But maybe if you want to give a brief update, Mike, on any next steps, or I know there's something with the Regional Planning Commission. I've been copied on emails and I haven't quite understood exactly what we need to do there, but want to just take us through.
Right. So with the plan, the city plan was adopted by city council on Wednesday, so that step is complete. The regional approval is still pending. So the Regional Planning Commission is currently trying to find a time and a date to have that meeting where we'll have to see what the agenda is. The intent at the time was to give an opportunity for the information that had been provided in the public hearing to be recorded and put down or with comments. And we'll see what process the RPC wants to have with the getting that last set considered or approved. So the regional plan is pending and should be early August, hopefully.
Okay. And
And
does the RPC, I was rereading some of those emails today, did they have to come to a meeting and talk to us about maps? Is that a separate thing?
that's a separate thing.
Okay. All right.
And I can touch on that really briefly. So I'm working with the city council to set up a time. We're thinking maybe the August 13th meeting. The RPC needs to and wants to meet with city council and planning commission to discuss the future land use map. What is it? Kind of the basics. What is it? Why is it important? And what facts, what do we want, comments do we want to give them on the development of the future land use map? And so they could have, they want, a lot of times they call for a joint meeting, and that can be easier for a smaller community. For us, we're going to probably host it at the city council meeting and then ask planning commissioners to attend. We may have to warn it if we expect to have more than 4 or more. We may have to warn it also as a planning commission item if there's going to be discussion. If planning commissioners are not going to be commenting, you're going to be there but not comment. Doesn't have to be. We'll have to sort out how we want to set up for the 13th if you guys want to attend that meeting to hear the same information from the Regional Planning Commission that City Council gets. Then we'll have to warn it that way. So we'll discuss that in the coming weeks when we've set the date and time for that. But for now, that's the future land use, and that's a separate meeting.
Okay. And is the planning commission required to be at this, like if we're not, if a quorum of the planning commissioners aren't at the August 13th meeting, does that have?
No, it wouldn't have any
No.
bearings.
Oh,
We could
okay.
warn it just in case we get a forum.
Oh,
And
okay.
if we only had 3 planning commissioners make it, that just means there's not a quorum and there's not a planning commission meeting in effect. So,
Oh, okay. I see.
so
Okay.
it's just in case we have 4, 5 planning commissioners that show up to the council meeting, we wouldn't break the open meeting law.
Oh, I see. Okay. But if we didn't have a quorum, then we
If we
could,
didn't have a quorum, there's
do it
no
later.
statutory requirement for a hearing at the town for the future land use map. This is just,
oh,
we want to do, speaking for the Regional Planning Commission, we, the Regional Planning Commission, want to reach out and have meetings with the city councils and the planning commissions so they understand what the new act and the new future land use map do and don't, and what it means and what's going to happen over the next couple of months and what input you have so they can move forward drafting a map
okay,
that
okay.
reflects the interests and concerns that the municipality has.
So since we already have a new map that conforms to the new criteria, like this doesn't have anything to do with the city plan being approved by the Regional Planning Commission. This just happens to coincide.
This happens to coincide. They're doing this for all 23 municipalities and we just happen to be on the list. I did try to push it far enough out. We could have tried to get them on the 16th or the 23rd of July. I felt let's put it after we get beyond, so that way we don't have this overlap confusion that somehow this and this are related. They're not. It's simply coincidental.
Clearly, I was
that we're having simply coincidental that we've got a regional approval of a plan and they want to have a meeting to talk about the future land use.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay, and then I was just thinking that, well, two things. I mean, first of all, I think my term is up in September and I'm not planning to reapply. So just putting that out there, if you know someone good. I don't know, Mike, exactly when my term is up. I was, if somebody wants to apply earlier, I'm certainly happy to leave earlier, but just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, terms are up. We have now set them up so they all expire at the end of September, October 1st. So yeah, I think
Okay.
they're all 2-year terms. They used to be staggered and all over the place. So, Kim Cheney's term may expire in May and John's in August and John Adams in September. And so they were all over the place and we finally pushed them all into one spot, said,
Okay. That's good. That's orderly. Do you know who else's terms are up? Just so if those people hopefully want to reapply, they can.
I can look that up. I'll put
Okay.
that on the list to look up and send that list out to everybody.
Okay. Tim, were you on one situation?
Because you
I
came
think I
in,
was originally a one
Came in
term, then
mid.
switched me to a 2-term.
yeah.
Yeah, because you were
But-
finishing the term of somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that'd be good to know.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe next meeting we can have a
Yeah.
revisit of.
It is
everyone's
in the
term.
annual report, so usually that's where I end up
Oh.
going back to, so.
Oh, okay. All right,
Gotta-
but I thought it would be good and maybe, just talking with Mike a little bit tonight to kind of think of if now is a time when we want to just talk about sort of a work plan for the year coming up and, is there
Yeah, so I locked,
okay,
just so everybody knows, I locked down the unmute yourself. So
okay, so they just have to.
they have to ask to unmute and then
Okay.
I can unmute
Is that-
you.
Is that James Moore? He's
I
been-
don't know. I don't
He's been
recognize the phone number.
calling into things recently.
Yeah, I just don't recognize the phone number to know.
If you're on a phone, how do you ask to unmute?
They're
It's a good question.
Looking for a detail that would do it, and it doesn't, it's not.
Well,
we can see who this is. I need to lock down. So if the call-in wants to unmute, you can try to unmute and just to identify yourself so we know who you are. Yep. Yeah, you don't have to. I'm just giving you the option to.
okay,
All right. Well,
Yeah, if someone,
Sorry.
Oh.
I wonder if it's Gabe.
oh,
Gabe?
well,
Like you would,
I don't,
you
I
would
don't know
know.
if I know Gabe's.
I mean,
Principal name. That's right now. I guess true.
if maybe the person stepped away for a minute,
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
they can email Mike, I guess, if they want to get, because right.
That's
not
Gabe's cell phone.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thanks for checking.
Yeah.
Yeah, given recent events, I don't
Yeah.
really want to be
Well,
Zoom secure. So yeah, maybe they could email Mike if you want to get
yeah,
unmuted
or
or
if somebody's
something.
just
not-
wants to listen in, they don't have to identify
Yeah,
themselves.
I'm not sure what a
So-
workaround would be. Yeah, so I just, I don't have thoughts on sort of what we have coming up, but if any planning commissioners want to share your thoughts on, how should we proceed now that the city plan is mostly behind us? And in particular, I was sort of thinking about, how we talked about wanting to revisit the city plan and how will we build that? How would we build that into a structure or a process?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think we should definitely set a date to start talking about it again. Sometime next year, maybe early spring next year. Does that seem too late to people, or does that seem reasonable?
Revisit the city plan.
Yeah, to at least take a to review and give people a chance for other committees for more input.
Yeah, my thought is there's 12 chapters, 12 months in a year, so 2 meetings a month, 1 meeting, maybe in 2026, just starting in January, we hit 1 chapter at a time and bake that in. We could do that, something along those lines. I like the idea of getting the stakeholders involved, again, re-engaging, really listening to the feedback the criticism that we got that we weren't engaging everybody, to re-engage people, make sure everybody has an opportunity. Sounds like the city council is also planning on shifting around some committees anyways. And so depending on that timeline, we'll probably want to wait for the new committees to be adjusted and have their feet feet underneath them before we then start engaging them. So I like the idea of pushing it off a couple months. Doesn't seem too far in the future, in my opinion.
It might be nice when these committees are actually a little bit fresh to make a point of dropping in somebody, one of us. If we divide them all up, and dropping in at a meeting at just to fly the flag of the planning commission, and put us on their radar.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that.
Good. Any other
So
thoughts?
Aaron's there and he can't unlock himself because he hasn't even announced himself. And Jay, they both have to announce themselves to start the meeting.
Gabe's on there now too.
Yeah, Gabe's on there. Do you guys want to announce yourselves? Gabe, Maria, and Aaron. You should be able to unmute yourself. Oh, now try it.
Hi, this is Aaron Kasicki. I'm a member of the Planning Commission. Good afternoon, everybody.
Hi, Gabe Lajeunesse, member of the Planning Commission.
Hi, I'm Maria, member of the Planning Commission.
We can't keep.
The 3 of them somewhat open and they can mute themselves if they want to.
It's got it right now that they can unmute themselves, and
Okay.
I just have a hand on the big red button.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds good.
So
In terms of revisiting, I think that timeline feels really good to me. So in terms of like backfill then from now until the beginning of the year, do we have a proposal? Has it been a proposal that we'd be jumping back into the more zoning regulations and taking care of seeing what we can do in the next 6 months when it comes to that?
yeah, I think that was the question. That's really what's going to be the topic for number 5.
Okay. I'm curious if we should pause and do general business before we jump into that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm still on comments from.
I know. It's like,
But yeah.
I hear you. It feels like it's bleeding a little bit, and my questions are going into the next section. So
Yeah. Yeah. I even though I was soliciting comments, that was considered number 3. Yes, we can move to general business. So comments on the agenda.
Steve Whitaker. It's come to my attention that, well, it's both a legal and a procedural concern. Neither the storyboard ArcGIS version of the plan nor the PDF version of the plan are ADA compatible. And there's no way at all to make the official ArcGIS version of the plan ADA compatible. And that can serve as an impediment to getting state and federal funding. So this is something that got overlooked and now it's going to bite us or give us an opportunity to get our house in order. Also, the capital budget, there's no provision in law that I can find that allows a city council to take a task, a duty of the planning commission and hand it to another committee. There is another committee scheduled to meet this Wednesday at 5:30 that is purporting to do y'all's work. 5:30 at the senior center. But the capital budget and program is a fundamental prerequisite to getting a growth center application. So while nobody seems yet ready to admit that we're unlikely to get our growth center application approved at this point, and therefore we'll wait under the new rubric. For y'all to put together a 5-year capital budget and program, especially lacking a design for Country Club Road, is next to impossible. But that has to include every capital investment, water, sewer, sidewalks, bus stops, community centers, with a price in priority order with the source of funds 5 years out. And it's clear, and I brought it up, I think the first time I spoke to your planning commission, that that's your job and nobody took it seriously. So now it's gonna potentially preclude. There'll likely be a challenge to the legitimacy of one put together by Kelly and Zach and Kurt and a few counselors. There's no provision in law I can find that allows them to take that work, that duty from you and put it somewhere else. So there's also no way, well, there is a way to make the PDF version of the city plan ADA compliant, but that would mean going back through the process of hearings and adopting the PDF version as the official plan. And a lot of people recommended that time after time after time, and you ignored them. So then we got issues with the process. The process of the plan, I've only looked into one town so far, East Montpelier, and the chair of the planning commission was not served a copy of the plan when it first became ready to be sent around. We were in such a rush to get these hearings and yada yada. It was sent to a town clerk, but the plan wasn't sent to a town clerk. saying, here's a link to a confusing website that back in February wasn't even working. Half the stuff wasn't even working. So to call that official delivery to a town with a return certified mail or return receipt for a copy of a full plan is more than a stretch. It's just flat out disingenuous if you're claiming. But I just saw the email that Mike sent to East Montpelier, and it didn't go to the planning commission chair, which is required by law. So this thing has been screwed up every which way from Sunday. We do not have a duly adopted plan. We probably ought to think of acknowledging that we're not going to make the growth center application and talk with the council even Wednesday at 5:30. That's the meeting where the CIP, Capital Improvement Program Committee, is meeting just an hour before city council meeting, and talk to them about whether y'all are prepared to do your job with the capital budget program. And if not, how you're going to get around the statute, because you're not. You can by Wednesday, you could verify that the process was defective as far as sending copies of the plan with a return receipt to all the planning commission chairs. Didn't happen. And sending them a link to a website doesn't even begin to serve the purpose. So the Esri story map fails to meet ADA requirements under Code of Federal Regulation 35.160, and the PDF fails to meet basic accessibility standards under WCAG 2.1 AA, capital AA. This excludes many residents from meaningful participation. So that's a lot of issues that are now for y'all to deal with. I would look forward to hearing some substantive, especially from Aaron, because he's a lawyer. And thanks.
Thank you.
So, Mike, I do have some follow-up questions about that. So I did, we all received Steven's email about the ADA compliance, kind of outlining the different.
I don't think I did.
Yeah, I don't think we all received it. I didn't receive it.
Oh.
I sent it to Kelly and
Oh, I was BCC'd, so
Yeah, no, you wouldn't have.
yeah.
Believe me, I'm the queen of.
Okay, so my first question is, Mike, have you seen this email that talks about the city plan not ADA compliant and a formal complaint?
No.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, because then
Kelly talked and sent it around.
okay, because then do you want me to forward it to you? I'm happy to, because
Yeah,
yeah,
if you want to.
my question was, just I'd
I
like to
can't, I won't be
hear.
able to answer anything specific without, and anything that comes up that's legal in this nature is one that we would be forwarding to an attorney to make that evaluation as to whether or not it's a substantive.
Yes, yeah, because that was the question is, I know that a lawyer has gone through our whole idea to have it be online, web-based, and, the PDF itself. And so I would be curious to get that feedback from a legal entity to say, yes, it is compliant, or these are the areas that it can be improved. So I can
Yeah,
forward that
just
to
forward
you.
it to me.
Yeah, I think that'd be
I
good
can
to
take a
check
look.
into.
I know there are a number of things that we did with the plan to review it for ADA compliance. So if
Yeah.
there are features that aren't ADA compliant, then we would have to go and check in as to the details of it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and I'll go ahead and forward it to
Yeah.
the whole planning commission as well. So, okay, great. And then the other thing. Oh, yes, the budget. Can you kind of educate me as to your understanding of if we can you respond and educate me to kind of what Stephen was saying about the budget? You know, we need to do a budget for someone else is doing it for us. Like,
So it's always been a strange provision in 24 VSA chapter 117. So it does go in and has capital budget and program as a tool of the municipality under that provision. There are some programs that require you to use a capital budget and to use that capital budget. And certain programs, I think the Growth Center is one of the ones that says you have to have a capital budget that's been adopted by this. Once the capital budget is adopted, it's not always clear the annual approval of that. You know, does that every year you guys have to go through and approve which dump trucks we're going to be purchasing? Or is this something different? So there isn't a requirement, there isn't an issue, and I'll qualify all this by, as I always go and say, I'm not a certified attorney. So you can develop budgets and have a capital budget and do that through your CIP committee, through your public works, or with your finance department to put together your CIP, as every municipality in this state does. It just doesn't check the box as a capital budget program as described in Title 24. So those don't technically count in that box. But if we have in the past adopted a CIP, I don't know the rules of whether, if you've adopted it in the past, does that mean it's adopted? We've created a capital budget. It's now updated annually by the city council and staff. I am not an attorney who has looked at what the case law is on capital budgets, but there is a specific set of provisions under Title 24 for adopting capital budgets and programs.
It's a duty of the planning commission.
It's one of the things we have the power to do. You're not required to do it.
okay. Okay, that is helpful context.
Okay. So next is beginning work on zoning changes. I don't know if we had, since I missed the last meeting, if there was like specific topics that we want to focus on tonight, if we want to go back to the matrix and start working through that, or just kind of outline how we're going to tackle it. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on that.
Yeah, so just to kick it off, some of the thoughts I had, and one of them goes a little bit back to the point you were asking earlier about the city plan. We could certainly go through this. You know, we've got 2 meetings a month. We could have 1 meeting on the zoning, 1 meeting on the city plan. Obviously, it would take things longer to get through the zoning. We can just front load the zoning and work on that at every meeting. Just putting out some ideas. We also can go, if we want to do the city plan, we can also, or do the zoning, we can also do it section by section or chapter by chapter. And a little bit of the advantage of that might be, it would give me an opportunity to explain to you, this is chapter 1. This is what's in chapter 1. This is why this is here. These are the things that we have as opportunities in here to look at. And, maybe there are things there, maybe there aren't, but then we could, chapter 2 is all of the zoning districts. So let's talk about the zoning districts. We've heard maybe we could merge them, but this is how it's laid out. Maybe we can get rid of the neighborhoods. Do we need the neighborhoods as a sub layer, or can we get rid of the neighborhoods? And I think we could have have more of a substantive, deep conversation about each one of the chapters as we're working our way through. Or we can do as we did before, is just take down a list of ideas and then start going through the ideas one at a time. I thought a little bit of the advantage of going chapter by chapter, one every meeting or one a month, would give us the opportunity to kind of explain, kind of take the mystery and fog out of zoning. It's confusing to sit down and start to read through it. And if I could go through and say, all right, this is a big section, but if you look at it in 4 parts, it's a little bit less complicated. And maybe that would make it a little bit easier, and have a little bit of learning for anyone who wants to participate, watch. We can go through and help people understand how the zoning is structured, why it's laid out, kind of why it's as long as it is. It's a big, complex document, but that's kind of the way they have to be, so. So anyways, those were just a couple of the thoughts that I had, and it helps me to be able to know how I'm going to prepare for the next meeting, because it's, there's a lot going on. And if I can know that I've got to prepare a presentation on chapter 1 for the planning commission, we gather some information, the second meeting of the month, we talk about, we have a follow-up on chapter 1. What do we want to put on that list of things? Either the things we are going to change or things that we should put on a list of things to discuss, and then start to get more input from the public and from committees on it.
It's such a pithy document that I would really appreciate personally if we have the time to do it, to go chapter by chapter. I think we can jump into more specifics like we did previously with the low-hanging fruit and go into individual subject areas. I know Maria's brought up parking, and we've talked about the neighborhood characteristics. But I feel like if we go that route, we would probably end up missing some opportunities for changes or revision or shortening. So because of that, I would lean towards the chapter-based approach personally.
I think that the chapter-based approach is fine. And then are we looking at 22 different chapters then, basically? I think that, if we do one chapter a meeting, that's gonna take a long time.
Yeah, maybe I picked the wrong word. Maybe it's talking about, maybe it should use parts, not
Part,
chapters.
okay,
Yeah.
parts, great. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, some are gonna have to get broken into smaller pieces, though. I mean,
Yeah.
part 3 is pretty big.
Yeah, and I
so we
think
would
that
break that into pieces.
part
but
1
part 1 could be one meeting.
could be
Part
pretty
2 would be
short.
broken into 2 meetings. One for the zoning, and maybe we can just go and say the design review is okay. But the design review would be probably a second piece, that its own meeting. If only just to go through the explanation of what it is and the details of it, so people understand. There's a lot of kind of myth out there about, the design review and the process. And I just want to make sure that we bring Meredith in and the design review and have them explain that the new process is different than what a lot of the rumors and stories are. So.
Does Maria have her hand up, or is that your cursor on her? Can't tell.
I don't see a hand up.
Oh,
No.
okay.
It is definitely gonna end up.
Now our hand is
That's
up.
awesome. We got a hand. Now we can be a hand. Go for it, Maria.
I agree. I like this idea of going chapter by chapter. It's kind of like, well, if anyone has to read the zoning regulations, it should be us. But I also, when we are going through it, I would like to reference back to the matrix of comments that we received now maybe 2 months ago, and make sure that as we review a chapter that we're also considering those comments. But yeah, I think that is kind of the only way to do it. We need to understand what we're trying to change.
Yeah, and that was my thought. We would continue to use the matrix and plug those in to go through and say, and we heard from folks that X was an issue or Y was an issue, and now's the time to discuss it. And maybe it's, their concerns were misunderstanding how the regulations work, or maybe it's like, no, this is an opportunity where we could change and make a difference. But we could go through and explain all those comments.
Okay. Well, that sounds great. So maybe, I mean, I don't know what people's vacation schedules are like, but if we can prepare for the next meeting to start, maybe you can prepare, depending on how fast we get through, prepare one or two, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll start with part one. There's a lot there to present.
Okay.
There isn't a lot to change, but the one or two things, the exemptions and general exemptions are important, and we need to kind of go and explain that so everybody understands. Because that's where we go and say, the way zoning or any regulation works is either you have to very narrowly say, these are the things that need permits. Therefore, if you happen to fall outside of that, you don't need a permit. But the way zoning generally works is you cast a very wide net. And so the definition of zoning is very, very wide, but it's so wide it catches everything like bird houses and dog houses. So you're kind of like, well, that's not what we want to regulate. So we would go through and say, well, here's the definition of development. All development needs a permit. And then we have our exceptions where like, but not this, not this, not this, not this, not this. And if you qualify for an exemption, you can get out of the zoning permit process. You can do it either way, but most towns will go through and cast a wide net and then put in exceptions. But if it doesn't, I teach the zoning administrators this all the time. If it doesn't fall into that first bucket of a definition of development, then it's not, I'm renovating the inside of my house. And you look at the definition of development, it doesn't trigger development, so it doesn't need a zoning permit. It may need a building permit, but it won't need a zoning permit because it hasn't fallen into that bucket. And you sometimes get that with certain projects, just, not in our zoning, but you might be in a different town. It's like, I'm going to be filling in my backyard. I'm going to get in a couple loads of clean fill. Do I need a permit for it? Or I'm going to build a pond. Do I need a zoning permit? You look at the definition of development, and it's like building a structure or changing a use. You're like, I don't think building a pond is either one. So you end up making a pond doesn't need a zoning permit. In our case, we've kind of caught those, but those are the types of things that come up when you're looking at that chapter one, is that initial, do you fall into zoning? And if you do, is there an exception that says that's just de minimis, what legally we call de minimis? It's just not of consequence, and therefore we can exclude it. Your dog houses and bird houses and little things. So, but we can have that conversation and go over that and make sure everybody kind of understands that as part one, and then we'll move into the meeting after that. We probably won't have a lot of changes in there, but we can then set up ourselves to get into part two, where we start talking about zoning districts, where I think we'll have a lot more substantive discussions of, could we combine these two districts? Could we, what would be effective in simplifying, and will that actually help? We'll have those conversations.
Okay, well, I think that sounds great to start with part one next time, as long as we're not missing a huge chunk of commissioners, so. Not hearing, okay.
Steady up.
Great, yeah. And is there anything else that anyone wants to do on the zoning tonight, or should we just plan for that next meeting, or is there more? I mean, I definitely think we want to front load the zoning. Oh,
So Maria's got it.
great.
Yeah.
I was wondering so on that matrix, if commissioners can add to it as well, because there are kind of topics that I'm curious about. And I'm wondering if I can just add to the matrix so that when we get to that chapter, I've already kind of flagged it as something that I think could be amended or edited.
Yeah, you
Yes.
can send it to me and I can put it on the list because we don't have any Google Drives or shared drives anymore.
Yeah.
Those aren't allowed. So you'll have to, send me some and I'll keep a master list going.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we can also just talk to people in the community and let them know that we're working on the zoning, and if they have comments, to send them into Mike, so we have a way to collect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This should not be a fixed. Like if you didn't get it in June, sorry.
Right.
Will there be any follow-up discussion from the regional planning meeting of the planning map that's going to be discussed that's totally separate from the city plan? Will there be anything that we should discuss? I'm wondering if we should build that into a future meeting.
Yeah, we can do a debrief for anyone who misses the meeting on the 13th to go through and say this is what was discussed, and if the board, if the commission has any input they want to give them, the additional input can go directly to the RPC or go to me and I can get it onto the RPC.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
I would actually love to enter this. I have to step out at 6:30 anyway, but I don't want to foreclose if other people have
I expected
things
this was
that
going to be
they,
a short
okay,
meeting.
things that they want to discuss or.
Oh,
Okay.
Just one final thing. I went into the annual report. So to save you
great.
the
Thank you.
the effort of having to figure out whose term expires, Ariane and Aaron and myself, we all have terms that expire in September. So those three,
All right.
just FYI.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
who
Thank
did you
you.
take over for Tim?
Great. Okay. Should we
All right, so we want to
consider the
consider
minutes?
the minutes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyone want to move approval of the June 23rd minutes, or we'll take a few minutes to look it over?
I'd look to. 30. Today.
I mean, I wasn't there, but I watched it, but I also don't feel like I'm the best person to, move approval for it.
I'll second.
Oh, I was saying I didn't.
Oh, I move
I
then.
didn't think that I was the best person.
I'll second Maria.
Rhea with the motion and Sean with the second.
Great. All those in favor?
I
Aye.
Okay, and anyone want to move to adjourn?
Well, one thing before we adjourn, just one thing,
Okay, yeah.
is that knowing Arian giving us the heads up that I guess we should consider who's going to be the next chair. Just think about it. So
Maybe if you want to, we could change that at the next meeting. Maybe we could put that on, if
I don't
people
know.
feel ready to put that on the agenda, I'd be fine with that.
yeah,
Or-
everybody do some soul searching
Yeah.
on it.
So the next, and before we officially adjourn. Sorry, just trying to look up, finding a calendar here.
July 28th, I think, is our next.
Yes, so it'd
Yep.
be July 28th. Everybody's good with July 28th?
Yeah.
Yes.
I will be here. I will be here.
Are you going to be here?
I'll be traveling
You'll be traveling. Okay.
and it could be hard for me.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it looks like Maria's here, Sean, Leah, me.
I'll be here.
I'm here.
Okay, great. Good. Okay.
All right. So, all right, just before I set up a meeting, just make sure we'll have a crew there. So our next meeting will be the 28th then.
And that would be part one.
To talk about part one, yes.
I'll potentially join, or I will send some thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
And if
That'd be
If you
great.
wanna
That'd be great.
talk about it before you go on vacation or something, you can let me know. We can set up a meeting or something.
Okay.
just to
That sounds good.
give you the lay of the land on it.
Um. Okay, does anyone want to move to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
I will second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
I
Okay, thanks, everybody.
All right,
Thank you.
you.
See ya.